Hello everybody, it's Don with Terra at our warehouse in Boise, Idaho, and we are getting ready to start what is going to be a series of trials that we're going to do, and we've got a full setup for our trial. And all we did was we went and got some dirt. This is just local Idaho dirt. There's nothing special about it because we want to simulate farming practices, so we just dug some of this out of the field. We have our vegetable seeds that we're going to be using, peas, radishes, and 2 different kinds of cucumbers. We picked these for our first trial because they grow fast, and we should be able to see results in as few as 2 days. This says 4 days, but every time we run these trials, our stuff is always up in about 2 days, even though it says 4 days, which we're hoping to see. And we're going to catalog all this with our camera on a tripod. It's time-lapse photography, so when we're done, we'll be able to make a video out of it also. So we've got a growing light that, a few details, if you look underneath, you can see there's 2 different types of bulbs. One is blue and one is red, is what they call it, and that gives us a full spectrum of sunlight. So we can kind of control the growing environment. We have a heating mat, that's what this is on the bottom, and it's warm to the touch, and it warms the bed so that the soil is warm. It promotes the germination. So it's going to speed things up a little bit, but by using just a general all-purpose fertilizer, that's what we have here. And of course we're going to add Terra to the right side and not to the left, but we're going to get equal fertilizer that we're going to mix up. And we'll shoot different aspects of this as we go through it. But here's our setup just getting started out. It's time to get planted, so let's get going. So we have our fertilizer mixed up, ready to go, and what we're going to do is, we were going to fill this up, but then we found out that the amount that we want in each one of these cups is about this cap full. And so it's about 2 ounces. We're not going to give them any more fertilizer for the rest of the trial, but we want to make sure that each one of these cups has the exact same amount of fertilizer in the soil so that it's as evenly distributed as we can. I'm going to spare you the details of going through every single one of these and putting that much fertilizer in. But we're going to proceed with that and then start planting. So here's what we're going to plant. We have radishes that we're going to do 2 rows up the middle. We have a variety of cucumbers that we're going to do in the next 2 rows. Peas that we planted in this row, and then another variety of cucumbers on the outside. So they'll be split by the peas. And get in here really quick. We've got all of our seeds in. We're about to cover them up. And then we will water them with fertilizer. But the one thing that we will do differently on the Terra side is we will take the Terra diluted solution and put a single drop on each one of these seeds, and that's all that they're going to get. So everything else will be exactly the same, but there will be one single diluted drop on these seeds. And to give you an idea of just how diluted, we'll take 2 milliliters into 1 liter of water and draw that out, and that's all that these will get. So it doesn't take a whole lot to make a huge difference, as we will see when our trial concludes. Okay, so to give you the perspective of how much or how little Terra that we use, I'm going to show how much that we're going to put on the seeds. We're not going to use anywhere near the amount that's in here. We just can't measure it much smaller than this. This is the commercial grade Terra so it's highly concentrated. But what we're going to do is we are going to put a single milliliter into this half a liter. We decided to go, instead of a liter and 2 liters, we're going to do a single liter into a half a liter. Okay, there we go. And then we're just going to mix that up. I'll use the other end of this. Mix that up. And I'm going to empty the rest of this out into, well, I'm just going to do that. And now we draw out our solution, and we're going to go onto our seeds, and we're going to do a single drop, which gets a little tricky, right on each seed. Oh, come on, get off there. And that's it. Usually it beads up a little bigger than this. Might be because the water's so cold, but that's about how much we put on there.
Not two.
Okay. We're going to stick them with that. And we are going to go through the entire tray all the way across. We're going to save you the... Actually, we'll go ahead and record this. You don't have to watch the whole thing. You can fast forward. And that way, we show, and these are the peas. I got to make sure I get it on them because they're down in there. And normally, we use a little more than this when we're in the field, and I know I didn't get that back one. But because this is going absolutely directly on the seed, we know that it is getting treated. Sometimes in the soil out in the farm, you have to get a little more in the soil to make sure that your seed gets a nice coat of it. That is not the case here. So it helps us to demonstrate just how effective Terra Fresh is. You would never believe that this little bit, I can't see that, so I'm going to It didn't take as long as I thought it would. Last two up here. And we're just about done. Got to do our radishes. And if you've been to our Facebook website and seen the radish picture after 12 days, the roots on the one side are roughly about 16, anywhere from 14 to 16 inches long if you stretch them out. And the one that didn't get the drop of Terra Fresh on it, those are about, what are they, Lex? About 5 or 6 inches long?
Yeah.
We'll call it 7. The point is they are not very long at all. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and this is how much we have left in the syringe still. So we used, I didn't even pay attention to how much we drew out, but even if it was completely full, that would have been 10 milliliters. We used 4.5 milliliters of this light solution. That is it. That's all we're going to do. Now they get covered over and we put in the equal dose of fertilizer. We just water and start taking the pictures. Okay, so to keep our dosage of fertilizer also just as equal, we are using the same syringe and we're drawing out 10 milliliters of the dissolved fertilizer solution, and we're putting that on each one of the cups. And we'll go, we've been starting from both ends and working our way in because it's not going to take a long time, but that way we can keep the time as even as possible and keep everything as equal as possible. Keep it up, Lex. So Lex finished up watering yesterday, and since that went on for a little while, we didn't shoot another video. So we're back today. It's the next day, and we're just going to point out what we have here. My phone's going crazy. We have them all equally watered. They went overnight. It's really balmy in this room. It's probably about 75 degrees, but it's humid. So I think that the light, the grow light up above, does have an effect of evaporating the moisture that's in the soil, and it stays in the room, so it actually stays kind of humid in here. But we have our camera set up, which is what we wanted to point out. We've got it set up to take a photo every 4 hours, 3 hours, I keep wanting to say 4 hours, every 3 hours. So when we're done, the lights, we're pretty much going to keep the room lights off. We have it on for the video, and just the grow light on. So the lighting should be consistent. We're not going to turn it off at all. We were talking to some people and they said that the only problem that we might run into is if we were going to transplant these in the fields, having light on 24 hours a day, is it might shock the plants, moving them out into the field when they have to survive a night. So for our sake, it actually should speed things up for us, and that'll be great. But now the long wait starts, where we're just going to wait and see what happens. A couple days from now, we expect the radishes to be up within about another 36 hours, even though the package says 4 days, and the one side probably will take 3 to 4 days. But whenever we've done this test before, our side is pretty much always up in about 2 days. So we'll see here in a few. We'll shoot another video and add to that. Thanks for watching. Keep checking back. Our trial continues here at the Terra Fresh warehouse in Boise. We're barely into about 49 hours on this, and we have plants up. We have 38 plants that are coming up on our side. Some of them are significant. That is what we would call significant at this point. And so on this side, there's 38 of them that are poking through. None of the peas are up on either side, but 38 on our side compared to 15. And we added 3 more to ours in the last hour and 2 more in the last hour to the other side. So 15 to 38, which is a good number. And as you remember, the very light dose that we put on here. I wanted to point out a couple of things. This room is perfect. You can see the humidity on the window. It's probably around 78 degrees in here, and it is really moist, so it's the perfect environment. We're not shutting the light off, so things are going to be a little quicker than they normally would. As I said originally, the cucumbers and the radishes were supposed to germinate in about 4 days, and we anticipated 2 days. These were all up this morning. We had 7 on this side this morning, and what was the count on this side?
20.
20, 7 and 20. So this 38 and 15 is just been, it's now 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2-ish or so. So it's changing quickly. We are clearly ahead on the Terra Fresh side, even with our small dose that we put on. So we're going to continue to catalog things. Our camera is still going off just like it's supposed to.